Are you tired of waiting forever for your curls to dry, but you don't want to sacrifice your curls for speed? What if I told you there are some ways you can cut your drying time without causing frizz? Stick around because I'm going to show you my best tips and tricks for reducing your drying time without causing any extra frizz. I'll walk you step by step through a styling and diffusing routine that dries your hair super fast with minimal frizz. All right, let's jump right in. So the first thing you want to do is, as soon as you're done rinsing out your conditioner, you want to microplop your hair to reduce the amount of water that's in it. What that means is you're going to get a hair towel. It could be one of those microfiber hair towels or a t-shirt towel. This is what I recommend. This one is from the brand Tea Owls. This is my favorite because it causes the least amount of frizz because it doesn't remove too much water. So that's my recommendation, but you can use whatever you have. A t-shirt works as well. And you're going to scrunch it like this. You're kind of just pushing up and pressing against your scalp and squeezing the ends, and that's just removing the excess water. And your hair stays wet, but it's not dripping wet. The wetter your hair is when you start the drying process, the longer it's gonna take to dry, right? Okay, so once we've squeezed out all the water, it's not dripping wet. Now you're gonna actually spray a little bit of water into your ends. And you might be wondering, like, well, Delilah, we just squeezed all the water out with a towel, and now you want me to put water back in. Why did I do that? So now we're just adding a little bit of water to the ends. We're not really adding it up here, just to make sure that our hair is wet enough. You should feel it wet, brush through easily, but it's not dripping. Shouldn't have any dry spots. Once you've sprayed some water back into your hair, the next step is, if your hair needs the moisture, then use a very lightweight leave-in product. This would be a leave-in conditioner or a curl cream. I recommend a leave-in conditioner because it's gonna be lighter. Leave-in conditioners are typically thinner, runnier, they're less creamy and thick, so that is going to have your hair dry a little bit faster. The thicker, creamier, heavier the products are, the longer it's gonna take your hair to dry. Less product in your hair, faster drying time. The more product you apply to your hair, regardless of what the product is, more product in your hair is going to increase the time it takes for your hair to dry. So try to put as little product as you possibly can. Maybe just focus on the ends or any problematic areas. If you have hair that doesn't struggle with dryness, like my hair, I don't struggle with any dryness. I just skip this step altogether. Now moving into the styling products, you're going to want to use one, maybe two styling products, but most people can get away with one as long as you're using something that has good defining properties and hold. Then you can get away with one styling product. And again, like I've mentioned before, the less you use, the faster your hair will dry. So that's why I very strongly encourage you to use things like gels and mousses, because these are very lightweight products. However, they define all curl types really well and they have very good hold. Most of them have a medium to strong hold, and that is the key to when you're diffusing, your hair not blowing all around everywhere and getting really, really frizzy. You need something to hold that curl structure while it's in the diffuser and the air is blowing at it. And other products like foams, creams, and sprays just really don't do that. All they're doing is moisturizing and defining your curls. They're not providing any hold. So a thin, strong hold gel is ideal. I'm going to use the Curlsmith Hydro Style Flexa Jelly. This is like a medium to strong hold, lightweight gel. You can see it's like clear, thin. It's not super runny, but it's very lightweight. You can also brush the product through after you've applied it in. That ensures that it's very evenly distributed across all of your hair from roots to tips, and that's really gonna make sure that you have minimal frizz. Now the next part of your routine is, if you like to use a brush, make sure that you are not creating very large curl clumps. The thicker the clump is, so let's say I create a clump like this. Hopefully you can see them like that. Now this is gonna take a lot longer to dry than if I was to split them and make a couple of skinnier clumps. Right now the surface area is a little bit different. The air hits each individual clump from more angles like this than if it was just two large clumps together. It's gonna dry much, much quicker. And once you're done scrunching it all over and getting all the products in, we're going to microplop one more time just to make sure we're really reducing the amount of water in our hair so we can speed up drying time. Squeeze my hair a little bit, push it up against my scalp. Now I'm going to take a small amount of the styling product that I use. In this case, it's this gel. Add a little water, emulsify, and we're going to glaze and scrunch it in just to make sure that we're not going to get any extra frizz when we diffuse. So we're kind of just lightly glazing it over. My husband's cutting the grass. I apologize. I find that this little mini step is so important to preventing frizz when we are diffusing. So don't skip it. Okay, now we can move on to the diffusing part, which is the main part of this. We've done a few things that are going to help speed up the drying time, but the biggest thing that's going to make a difference is using a high-speed air dryer. Now I'm going to be using this Laifen hair dryer with diffuser attachment. This is a high-speed hair dryer that dries the hair much faster than other regular hair dryers, and it costs a lot less than their competition. Now most dryers are going to come with multiple heat settings. On the Laifen, you've got a cold, medium, hot, and then there's like a auto cycle button that will auto cycle through the hot and cold. I recommend a warm heat setting if you have that on your dryer. So on this one, it will show up. It's a really cool feature. They have this lights up. The color of it indicates if it's cold, hot, warm. So let me show you what that looks like. Now the next thing you want to consider is the bowl that you are using for your hair. So generally speaking, the longer your hair is, the bigger the bowl you will need. The shorter your hair is, the smaller the bowl. This is a good mid-sized bowl that's pretty much good for all hair lengths. You want to make sure there's lots of little air holes, like this one's full of them, and that there's prongs. This is really good for drying the root area, and that there's air holes in the prongs as well. So this is a very well designed diffuser bowl. And I'm gonna tell you, don't bother with those silicone bowls because they collapse and cause so much frizz. I recommend a structured, like actual plastic bowl attachment for your hair dryer. All right, so let me show you how I diffuse using this Laifen. Oh, and one last thing is the speed. You want to use medium or high speed. Obviously, the more speed you use, the faster your hair is gonna dry. So this hair dryer has 2 settings, and I'm going to use the first setting because it's a high-speed dryer. So the first setting is almost like the high setting of like a regular dryer, and the more air or the stronger the blow, the more chance of your hair blowing around inside the diffuser and creating frizz. If you've got thicker, coarser hair, not a problem. But for fine hair like mine that is so easily, like it's wispy, it blows around so easily, I can't use the really high speed part of it because it's just gonna blow my hair all over. So if you have hair like mine, keep that in mind. You may have to stick with the medium. Otherwise, you can totally do the high speed, and I recommend it because it's gonna dry so much faster. So I'm gonna use the medium speed. When you start diffusing, you first want to start by hover diffusing. Make sure that you keep the diffuser a few inches away from the hair and move it around very slowly. You are trying to get the curls to cast and set. Not all hair casts, mine doesn't really, but you can still start off this way because it will reduce the amount of frizz that you have. So this part is going to vary how long it takes from one person to another. I spend a couple of minutes diffusing here. I'm just trying to get the roots to dry a little bit, the ends to dry a little bit, so that they're less likely to frizz up when I do start to put my hair into the diffuser bowl and Pixie diffuse. Now, if at any point while you're diffusing, you start to see a little bit of frizz, you're gonna wanna stop and come in. I'm getting like a little bit of frizz on the ends here, so I'm just gonna spray this with water. And so you just wanna wet it and re-clump it, get rid of that frizz, and then you can turn the dryer back on and diffuse that part so that it stays frizz-free. So that will happen sometimes, some spots that maybe you just didn't get as much product as you thought you did. So when I Pixie diffuse, I prefer to lean from side to side. And the main thing you want to do is make sure that as you're putting the length of your hair into the diffuser bowl, you're very, very careful that the curls are coiling inside there evenly, like they're making their normal curl pattern spiral in there, and they're not being folded all wonky. So you want to look at it as you're doing it. You take smaller sections. The less hair that you put in the diffuser, the faster it's going to dry. So you don't want to do large, big sections of your hair. And you're going to turn the diffuser off first, as you can see that I'm doing here. Make sure the hair coils into the bowl. Push it up towards your scalp, but don't touch your scalp. You can just hold it a few inches away. Turn the diffuser on and then hold it there for up to 30 seconds. And then turn it off and move around different parts of your hair. Because you're being extra careful with how the curls coil into the diffuser, it's not on before you are keeping the diffuser in place, and then you're keeping it in place for so long. This is going to result in a lot less frizz than if you diffused a little more haphazardly. And also using a dryer like this Laifen has negative ions that helps to smooth the hair and also reduces frizz and adds shine. So you're going to repeat this process all over multiple times until you feel like your hair is mostly dry. You don't have to dry to 100% dry. You can stop at 75%, 80%, wherever it is that you want to stop. The drier your hair is though, the longer it will hold. So you want to make sure that it's not damp, like it's almost completely dry when you're done, just for the best longevity. And once I'm done with the Pixie diffusing part, I focus on the root area. But this is where I touch the diffuser bowl to my scalp, and this is why the prongs are really helpful. So you kind of just push in, jiggle it around a little bit. You're just working it in there and making sure that the root area is drying as well and that it's not flat and stuck onto your scalp. Okay, my hair is like 95% dry. Yeah, it's like just a touch. No, this is dry. It's fully dry. Look at that. That was super quick. Let me check how long that took. All right, so 9 minutes and 4 seconds is how long it took to dry, and it's fully dry. I said 95%, but now that it's cooled, I can tell it's completely dry. So I probably could have stopped even before then. Typically, when I don't use a high-speed hair dryer, my hair takes about 15, 16 minutes to dry. And if I'm air drying, it's about 5 to 6 hours. So that gives you a little bit of point of reference. So in less than 10 minutes, my hair is fully dry and very, very minimal frizz. We can see we've got really good definition, nice curl clumps. I have good volume. I mean, really, like, I didn't sacrifice on anything. This came out really good. My hair looks like if I spent a ton of time on it, and really it was a very quick and speedy routine. Now, all the products I used are linked in the description below, including the Laifen hair dryer, and I also have a discount code that works on the Laifen SE and Swift, $10 off. That is in the description below along with the link. If you want a high-speed air dryer that works and is affordable, I strongly recommend that you try this one out. Now, if you also want to speed up the rest of your curly routine, including the washing and styling part, then watch this video next. It's called Fast Curly Hair Routine, and I share step-by-step my exact routine that is 16 minutes from start to finish. From the time that I start wetting my hair to shampoo to the time that it's fully dry, it is 16 minutes. So click the video you see on your screen and I'll see you there.